Imagine you were spending, I don't know, $50,000 on a single evening. You spent the last 14 months just painstakingly curating every conceivable detail. I mean, you tasted 12 different types of cake buttercream.
Oh, at least 12.
Right. You debated the exact Pantone shade of the floral centerpieces. You hired a string quartet to play a very specific arrangement as you walked down the aisle. And the execution is flawless. The doors to the grand reception hall finally swing open, the music swells, your guests pour into the room, and within 3 minutes, that entire $50,000 illusion of elegance completely shatters.
It's a breathtakingly fast collapse, honestly. All that curation completely derailed by the simplest, most primal element of human gathering.
A chair. Specifically an unassigned chair, because today we're taking a massive stack of research, behavioral studies, spatial design principles, and deep dive technical manuals into event platforms like Weddizer to decode one of the most notoriously complex, stress-inducing puzzles on the planet. We are talking about the wedding seating chart.
Yes, we are.
And to you listening right now, we are going to unlock exactly why this single piece of paper or, digital dashboard is the absolute difference between an unforgettable evening and a hostage situation with expensive chicken.
A hostage situation is a surprisingly accurate way to describe bad event planning. I mean, we tend to view seating charts as this tedious administrative chore, something you just check off a list. But the research we are diving into today paints a completely different picture.
It really does.
Yeah, the seating chart is basically the invisible architecture of human connection. It's the silent hand that dictates whether a room feels electric and joyful or just tense and chaotic.
Think about your own life for a second. Think about a time you attended a massive event, like a wedding, a corporate gala, a charity dinner. You walked in, looked at a little card, and walked to your table. Did you spend the next 4 hours leaning in, laughing, totally engaged in conversation with fascinating people while having, plenty of room to eat?
Or did you find yourself wedged into a dark, drafty corner?
Exactly. Your chair repeatedly bumped by the swinging kitchen doors, desperately trying to make small talk with a stranger who seemed actively angry to be there.
We all have the memory of the dark corner, that feeling of just being trapped. And what our sources reveal is that your experience in that dark corner wasn't just a string of bad luck. It was a failure of spatial and social engineering.
Wow. Spatial and social engineering.
Yeah. The host basically failed to account for the incredibly complex dynamics of how human beings interact with physical space and with each other.
So we are going to fix that. We're going to give you the blueprint to become the ultimate bulletproof host. But before we get to the how, before we talk about software or strategies or drag and drop interfaces, we have to talk about the why.
The motivation behind it all.
Right. Because reading through this material, there is a very vocal contingent of people, and honestly, I've felt this way myself in the past, who look at all this agonizing over who sits where and they think, isn't this just obsessive micromanagement?
Oh, people ask that all the time.
Like, we are all adults. Why can't we just open the doors, let everyone grab a drink, and sit wherever they naturally want to sit? Why do we need to control it so tightly?
The allure of open seating is one of the greatest traps in event planning. It sounds so egalitarian, so relaxed. You think you're giving your guests freedom.
That's the intention, yeah.
But the behavioral science outlined in our research shows that you aren't giving them freedom at all. You are giving them a massive spike of cortisol.
Cortisol, the stress hormone, just from picking a seat.
Absolutely. I mean, put yourself in the shoes of a guest. Human beings are inherently tribal, and we are highly susceptible to social anxiety in unstructured environments.
Okay, that makes sense.
When you walk into a room of 150 people, your brain is immediately forced into a high alert scanning mode. You are looking for safety. You are looking for familiarity. You are evaluating social hierarchies in real time.
Oh, wow.
It is the exact same neurological response as walking into a middle school cafeteria on the first day of school.
Oh, man. That is a visceral comparison. The absolute dread of standing there with a tray of food, looking at a sea of faces and wondering, where do I belong? Who is going to reject me? You're saying adults feel that same panic at a black tie wedding.
The tuxedo doesn't change the hardwiring of the brain. When you enforce an open seating policy, you do not eliminate the stress of planning the seating chart. You simply transfer that stress.
You pass the buck.
Exactly. You take it off your shoulders weeks in advance, and you dump it squarely onto your guests in the first 3 minutes of your reception.
So you're forcing your guests to do the spatial engineering on the fly.
And they are terrible at it. The data shows us a very predictable cascade effect when unstructured crowds try to occupy fixed seating. Let's look at the mathematics of a standard reception room.
Okay, let's break it down.
You typically have round tables that seat 8 people comfortably. Now imagine a group of 5 college friends walks in. They find an empty table and claim it. They leave 3 empty chairs.
Right.
10 seconds later, a family of 4 walks in. They desperately want to sit together.
But they can't. The table only has 3 chairs left.
So the family of 4 has to keep walking. They find another table, claim 4 seats, and leave 4 empty. Multiply this microtransaction across a room of 150 people, and within 10 minutes, you have a fragmented landscape of unusable, isolated single seats.
That sounds like a nightmare.
It is. You have couples forced to sit across the room from each other. You have elderly grandparents wandering the perimeter because the prime tables were immediately claimed by the fastest walkers.
It's essentially a polite stampede, a game of high-stakes musical chairs where everyone is wearing expensive shoes.
It shatters the elegance immediately. But the social awkwardness is only the first phase of the disaster. The second phase hits the logistical backbone of the event.
The catering timeline,
Yes, the catering timeline.
which is something nobody thinks about until they're starving. How does unassigned seating destroy the food?
A commercial catering operation for a large event operates with military precision. I mean, they are managing extreme variables of heat, timing, and staff movement.
Right, it's a huge production back there.
Huge. When you have a seating chart, you are giving the kitchen a master map. They know exactly how many plates go to table 5, and they know exactly where table 5 is located in physical space. But more importantly, the seating chart acts as a temporal control mechanism.
A temporal control mechanism, meaning it controls time.
It controls the flow of the guests. When people know where their assigned seat is, the transition from cocktail hour to the dinner service takes roughly 5 to 8 minutes.
It's pretty quick.
Right. Guests find their names, sit down, and the waiters begin pouring wine. When you have open seating, that transition takes 25 to 40 minutes.
40 minutes, just to sit down.
Because of the negotiation phase, people are holding coats, trying to save seats for friends who are in the bathroom, having polite standoffs with strangers over who gets the last chair.